Welcome back to another episode of Another Act with Kelley Carter. Joining me today is a guy you guys all know, Ellis. Thanks for joining the show. What's up? How are you and your family doing during all of this lockdown?
We're good. You know, I think we're trying to get through it like everybody else, trying not to stress out and find stuff to do and keep ourselves busy, going on long walks every single day, which is probably the best thing that's come out of it.
Yeah.
Everybody's good. Everybody's healthy. Thank you.
Oh, that's good. I'm so happy to hear that. Well, one thing that all of us are doing while we are stuck inside of our homes, of course, is watching a lot of television. And you are a man who is taking all of the jobs in Hollywood because you're giving us some really great content. Obviously, new season of Insecure is now on HBO.
Let's go.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good this season. And Lawrence's storyline is like kicked all the way up. And it's going to be, I would say like workplace fodder, but because we're not at work right now, group chat fodder. You know what I mean? Tell me a little bit about this new season.
Zoom and group chat fodder. WeChat,
exactly.
All the chats. I think this season is really interesting because I think we've seen, specifically for Lawrence, we've gotten to see a lot with this dude. We've watched a lot of this man's journey, and I think we've seen him go from being a boy to a boy. There's a word in front of that second one.
Bleep button.
A bleep boy. There we go. And then, I think now he's gotten to this place where like he's kind of come to terms with a lot of his behavior and what he's kind of created himself. And now he's looking at life and is curious, like, can you truly have career and love? Can you have them both? Everybody says one thing always suffers. And I think Lawrence is kind of trying to figure that out for himself for the first time and really be, I think, earnest and honest about going through that journey.
I love seeing obviously more of you on the show, but in addition to seeing more of you on the show, you also directed your first episode this season too. How did that change things for you as an actor, kind of knowing what it takes to bring this episode together?
It's interesting. So my episode ended up being the very last episode that we shot of the season.
Oh, wow.
And some of that is because we traveled on my episode. We actually went out of the country for my episode. And so schedule-wise, it was the best place to put it. But what it allowed me to do was, just focus as an actor for the first, 99% of production. And then I also got to really just kind of sit back. I went back and watched every single season. I went back and watched a lot of my favorite movies, especially once I got the script and started seeing what the story was and then thinking about ways to, tell that story visually. I just got to like ask a lot of questions. I sat down with Jordan Peele for like an hour and just asked him questions. So I got to really just sit down and really just get their perspective on being behind the camera, the move for an actor to be behind the camera, and what we should really, how I bring my point of view to something that's already been established.
Okay. Well, you were not only on one phenomenal series, there is another series that is oh so good, Mrs. America on Hulu and FX. Oh my mind is blown away by how good this series is. Yeah. How did this come to you? And tell us a little bit about it, because you're playing the lover of Gloria Steinem.
This story is amazing. I'll tell you, like, I don't get to do a lot of TV. And so we typically don't really look for those opportunities, to be honest with you, or when they come, I'm usually not available or, I'll have other stuff going on. And this came, I had heard about it, but didn't fully know what the story was. And then one of my agents called me. He was like, yo, there's this great series coming out. It's a limited series on FX. I think you should take a look at it. They're interested in seeing you. And I read the sides, and the guy I'm playing is this guy. His name is Frank Thomas, not the baseball player. But that's immediately where my mind went. I was like, Frank Thomas? Like, what is this? I don't get it. Yeah. But I looked him up, and this dude had a really amazing story. I mean, he was from North Carolina, I believe. He ended up playing college basketball at Columbia, I think it was. Graduated top of his class. He was the first Black, first African-American team captain of any sport in the Ivy League. His mom would not let him go to school on an athletic scholarship. She would only let him go if he got an academic scholarship, which he ultimately did. Wow. And so, just reading up on him and what his life was, he ran the Ford Foundation for 20 years. And then somewhere in there, he met Gloria Steinem. And I read this quote from Gloria where she called him the love of her life, which to me was crazy. Wow. Because you're talking about a feminist icon who for a very long time was very confident and very comfortable in being a single woman and still is. And, I'm not to take that away at all whatsoever, but to know that there was this man who stood by her all this time, I was just so curious as to what she saw in this man, and how they supported each other, how they complemented each other. And so I actually went in and auditioned for it. It was super, super easy. And then Davi Waller, who created, hit me and was like, yo, you got it. And I was like, yo, let's do this. I'm so excited. So, yeah.
What's great is that Rose Byrne is playing Gloria Steinem. You guys have fantastic chemistry. Really, really love your scenes together. Good stuff. Good stuff.
It's fun. Rose, just real quick. Rose is absolutely amazing as Gloria. First of all, this is my first time meeting her. I have friends who have worked with her before. And we get to Toronto and it's me, her, our directors who are, Anna Bowden and Ryan Fleck, who are directing this episode, and then Davi, who wrote it. And she looks at me and she goes, you're a good looking Frank Thomas. We're going to be a good couple. We're going to be good. I was like, okay. I love her. She's my heart. Rose is my heart. I absolutely love her.
A lot of people may not be aware of with your story is that you also are a former college athlete too. You played basketball.
Yeah, I played college basketball. I got super lucky. My senior year, I dunked on a kid who was 6'11" in our state tournament. And because there's not a lot of 6'11" people roaming the earth, he had like 25 college scouts in the stands. And it basically opened up the opportunity for me to go play college basketball. And I ended up at this school called Concordia University in Portland, Oregon, and got to go play some amazing years of basketball there with some really, really great dudes. So, yeah, it was amazing.
You then left college and then worked for the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, well, actually, while I was in college, I interned for the Blazers. I got lucky where I started my internship first semester and it carried through second semester, and it was with the Trailblazers. I was in the marketing and PR department.
How did you pivot from, the world of sports to the world of acting, and what made you make that move?
I always knew I loved storytelling. And then when I got to college, I actually wanted to be in theater. But basketball season is so long and takes up so much of your time, and it's a full-time job. I was also scared. I tell people I was a coward because I couldn't be in the locker room in a towel with my teammates. Yo, you want to come see me in Jesus Christ Superstar this weekend? I'm you know what I mean? I was just these two worlds don't collide.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I used my electives to take a couple theater classes. I took a voice class. I took a body movement class, some sense memory stuff. And that was literally kind of my entrance into acting. And then after that, when I graduated, I was like, oh, this is it. I am going to do this. But by that point, I had started modeling. So my thought was, oh, this is a bridge into acting. And that couldn't be further from the truth. The worlds are they don't cross at all whatsoever. And so I did that for a year and a half, 2 years, and then just looked up one day. I had this crazy story where I was in a casting and 20 dudes had tried on these pair of underwear before me, and I got to this chair, and now it was my turn to try on these pair of underwear, and you're supposed to strip down and put them on. I was just like, I can't do this. I'm nasty. I know they nasty. So I'm not putting on nobody. I'm not putting on underwear that nobody else has put on today. I'm just not doing that. This is not what we don't work too hard and came too far. And so I called my then agent and was like, yo, I want to go. I was abroad at the time, and I was like, yo, I want to go home. And 3 weeks later, I was home and packing up and moving to LA to start acting.
Thank you so much, Jay Ellis, for joining another act. Always good to see you, and glad to see you on even more things in 2020.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Be healthy, be safe.